Even in seeing the passing of our sister singing Sandra, it is brings a lot of focus on a lot of the elders. How many more are there still? The little corner that waiting until they're passing to highlight all the music. Let them get some money on the, what I just call it, when their music play, the little royalties. Let you play the songs that they could get some extra money on the royalties. So, whatever element, like Stalin, I think he's still a battling. You have all that, you have a lot of them still a battling, still in the corner. Let me put up, let me post up, let me play all the music. Don't wait till in the passing that we were now recognizing their contributions.
Well,
That's,
I must agree with you on that note. But also you must remember too, around this time of the year we normally have carnival. But because of the COVID,
yeah,
now there is no carnival. But yet still, I mean, a lot of the music is still playing. So I mean, a lot of artists is benefiting or is being paid this time of the year their royalties for the playing of their music.
yeah, yeah, and we're glad because now we there are a number of stations was promoting the idea of soca for the month or soca since the year start, and I think they are doing an injustice in terms of arts and culture, especially trying to promote these new concepts of what they call in soca and calypso into the arena. You know, they have lowered the bar so low that singers just believe that they can just sing a song about a bottom and how to whine it and how to jump up on it and how to lick it and how to knock it. And, and they are crowding the airwaves. And that I have to now tune in to listen to some Tassa and Chutney to kind of feel a little contented to listen to some music in my head. It's not knocking
Well,
the young ones, but non young ones should, especially our people within the Ifarisha tradition. I think they should be trying to, especially now that we have so much of verses, so much of essays, so much of patakis coming out from Ifa, from the exposition of Ifa, that they could take these patakis and make little songs to empower themselves, share it amongst their age group, and promote the culture at a different level and still connect with their tradition.
while I agree with you, Baba, how many of the elders you think gonna support an effort like that?
Mm. Well, as I say, I'm of the new generation of elders. We are the new generation of elders because, with all respect to the elders that are there, that are still around, to the elders that have passed, I think we, as the new batch of elders, I think we have to fill the gaps where the rest has not really put the foot into, has not really made that challenge in
Well,
terms of, promoting our tradition in a different light. All respect.
I would like to say that for myself, I hold a sort of different. Well, I share the same view as you,
Mm,
but I have a slightly different perspective on it. My thing is that the whole carnival culture and everything was influenced and came out of West African culture. I
mm,
believe that our community should play more of an active role in the culture. I don't know if I would like to say that we need only to go in the direction of traditional calypso, and I will tell you why I would think that we should be more or less open to all forms and styles of music that came from the traditional calypso. Music is the sort of thing that it sort of it evolves,
mm,
right? And it doesn't evolve in a vacuum. It sort of evolve in relation to other styles of music that is being played and listened to around the world. A lot of the changes that took place in the traditional calypso that brought it to the calypso, to the soca, to the kaiso, and all these things were musical evolution that took place in tandem with developments in other parts of the world. So even the soca that we hear nowadays, what has happened is that development, if you if you if you if you would look at it as
mm,
development, took place in tandem with other development of other music in the area like rockers, reggae, and dancehall. So what you have to understand is that the younger people, because of the other types of music that they listen to, they would want to identify with a style of music locally that sort of fits in with the rest of the music that is being played in other parts of the world. So that is why you would have the modern soca sort of resembling the dancehall in many respects, or you would have the dancehall resembling the soca, whichever way you choose to put it. But I think definitely, as you mentioned, that our community should play more of an active role in the culture and within the practice of our tradition. Also, I believe that young people should play more of an active role, as you mentioned about orikis and songs and all of that, that we could sing for our own elevation and happiness. Because the situation with that is right now, most of the commercially recorded Orisa songs is being done primarily by one or two artists. So I think that's a wide open field where we could have young people become involved.
Yeah, because now, because as I mentioned, the one or two, and all the respect and long life and good health to Sister Elandel, um, we now is not really moving away from the different music trend. We could capitalize on the wherever is the music trend, but I say the messages, because when I listen, a lot of these young artists, they're searching for words in a song, but instead of us giving it away to people outside of the tradition, let me encourage ours in the tradition first to take these songs, and then by they having the advantage and they bring it out, then they can open the avenue for other artists now to say, hey, where you get those great philosophies? Because remember, years we've been going biblical in all our songs, and sometimes it took us to a point, but it didn't bring the liberation. But now we are the words that can take us to the liberation. I always tell people, like, Bob Marley was one of my favorite, but we listen to his song without the emotion of love for him. And say, emancipate yourself from myself, save none but ourselves can free our mind. I no fear for no forward energy, but remember he talk about we have to fulfill the book. So even if we talk about liberation and freeing our mind, we still point it back to the Bible, because that was all we had at that time, right? So now that we could go beyond the book in terms of that emancipation, I think we should try to promote it, not as an elder take it and start it to dominate it, but push the idea for young ones to come. So one I think I was trying to do is basically have a competition or a participatory group where young ones could take somebody, we can make it into a song, make it into a poem, outside of just reading it in the literal form, in terms of from the, I would say, religious form, outside of the temple, but take the idea,
Well,
story, a song around it.
Baba,
And plus, music man like you into music, to work with them, to put songs or create a rhythm and
sure,
let them work on the
sure. But
rhythm.
I mean, I am always open and I'm more than willing to do that. But I want to say this though. As far as Orikis are concerned, I think that is open to the creative process, because in the case, for example, let's look at some of the local energies. Some of the local energies is not recognized in Nigeria, in various parts of Nigeria, right? We have about seven, right, or more.
Yeah, you have a few
Local
not
energies,
recognized.
right? Local energies that are not recognized in Nigeria. So that opens the room for creativity on the parts of youths to create
Yeah.
orikis and chants and songs that
Mm-hmm.
would honor these energies. Orikis,
Yeah,
most of them
true.
that we use on a regular basis, um, have a specific structure, but it does allow for some measure of creativity. So, in the
Yeah.
case I'm saying with the local energies, it is a possibility that the youth can actually create special orikis for the local energies that could
Yeah.
be used as part of the
Uh, the growth and development, and they don't necessarily have to be religious in a sense. All right, let me see. Now we always talk about tradition, but others question sometimes what people does take out of the essence when we talk about tradition. Because I say I can't take Oshogbo tradition and bring it here. I can't take Ogun State tradition and bring it here. But the principle or the essence of the tradition in terms of when you hear they sing of Oshogbo State, they sing about their community. So right now, why we can't sing about the state of St. Patrick, the saint of the sing
no,
about
yeah, but what I'm saying to you that orikis have that sort of flexibility.
yeah, that's same. So we encourage them now to utilize those okay, put that energy, sing about your song. So the elders know it come like you can incorporate the elders. Elders, what are the main real energies that because there's some manifestation, they don't manifest in some places, and you see them manifesting in some areas. So
Okay.
remember there's talk about Orisha, Orilu, Orisha for a particular region, or Orisha for a
Yeah, but
particular
that is an aspect of the tradition because
yeah, right?
many places you would go when the ceremonies and the litanies and these things are being performed, you would hear the person offering Iba also to the local energy of the
Yeah.
area. So if
So,
like we say we go into Arima and we go among the Santa Rosa community and they have a particular deity that they acknowledge as the supreme god, we will offer Iba to that energy also.
so I say you could even let them recreate or wikis around the tongue connected to the energies in the tongue. But they just say plain avenues to bring in the children to get something more interested, keep them connected to their own space, to respect their space. But also now we create an avenue where we could give them an economic base because when you're seeing what's happening, the death rate is under 25 unless you're seriously ill. When you talk about murders, shot by police, is under 35 and 40.
All
And
right.
these are the ages trying to survive because at 35, by the time I you reach 35, you would already have three children from two of three different girls. Each of them looking for their some assistance so they cost you and tell everything they have to look for next month to mind your child. So we know this situation amongst our youth. But I say we as elders who know and really connect with them, we have to find some way of creating something, not just put them as a labor force, because I just try to help some take an electrical job and put them, but I still have to work because they really know much. So it's taking me out of my time to try to do a job just so they could get something to carry home.
Yeah, I understand.
But we could create something which they could be comfortable. They can help them to more go into more research into the tradition,
Yes,
get
definitely.
connected, and build something, and then they sure they have a sustenance. So we get them a rhythm all here. This is rhythm all here because we coming in their space now.
Yeah, well, not only that, but I want to also point out too, among the songs that are normally sung, some of the local energies that has been recognized by our ancestors here for over a long period of time. We don't really have many songs or many orikis for them. For example, Erile, right? Well, we have a couple of songs from Mama
Yeah,
Lota. We
yeah,
have Big Oyana. We
uh,
have Ologo.
Ra,
We have Obanike. We have Palara. You know, we
yeah.
have quite a few local energies that are not recognized in Nigeria. And we do not have many songs for them. So
No,
that challenge for the young people to be creative and come up with something might be a very practical and
yeah,
useful thing.
yeah. And also it could also give them a more we could get more insight because by their researching we could get more insight and have more literature in terms of those orishas. Because most time we just hear the song and see the manifestations. And really, if unless somebody write a little quotation, we don't have no literature on these. So it could build is going beyond. But you're still trying to create something where this tradition will be sustaining the young generations coming up in the tradition.
Yeah. Also, too, we had to preserve. We don't want it. We don't want
And
the tradition to
it
be
allows
lost.
the preservation. So
Yeah.
if there's a benefit in preserving by I as a youth coming out and singing, I as a youth knowing because I know I can't come, you can't come off because them other youths go this year. See how they come good, they come like hip hop. You have to come good. If you
Yeah.
ain't come good, don't
Yeah.
yeah.
Mr. N.
While we trying to get our thing in order, you know, that we look at avenues where we could preserve the culture, preserve the tradition, also recognize, take not take Nigeria's tradition, but take the essence or the elements of what tradition means to them and apply to us.
Well,
That means not
definitely.
take
I
what they
agree.
have and
I agree.
do it and
I
take the
mean, we don't have to take everything wholesale
yeah,
or hook, line, and sinker
yeah,
as used to.
principle. If I a gungun supposed to represent a community, let me take the philosophy the Egun supposed to represent the community, and let me know, find out the energies of the community, and so we build our Egun to represent our community. So the name of the Ogun supposed to represent the people, so everybody in the neighbor, the thing, the Hindu, the Catholic, all could identify with, just as we were talking about the Panisa, you know, people could identify in all religion Panisa. But when they bring some Tiagwe, this the Olowo who came, he came with his Egun. You understand? It has no real significance to us other than it passed on from somebody from our next tongue. And so it is not
Baba, 1 second. You're freezing up quite a bit from my
is
end.
allowing us.
You can hear me, you're freezing quite a bit. So if you have any programs open on your computer beside this one, close them off now, please.
All right, let me see. I'll just take it on a little there.
Because that might be creating freezing problem.
It looked like the Facebook was open and people are trying to call to
Right. So once you close it down, we should not.
yeah.
So go ahead.
All right, so I just say in terms of in us building a more strength in terms of what we represent in terms of tradition. And I think we should take this month, Black History Month, also what I recognize as Heritage Month, and use this month in terms of reflecting and pulling out some of these information and resources. I mean, too long we talk about the first black man who invented the toaster. There's nothing wrong in remembering, but I think there's only argumentative benefit of these things. The first black man that invented the fridge, the first black man that yes,
No,
it was good. It's good
Baba,
to remember.
I think one of
But
the things we probably need to do in terms of like the lists of inventors and the various things that they have invented, we probably need to start investing in the minds of our youth and having challenges for them to be more innovative on the said inventions that other black people has created here in the way for us.
Make a computer. Let me start to make them create. Let them build. Let them build.
Yeah,
So
well, innovation content.
Right. And there's what I'm saying. Yes, we always like to acknowledge, and that acknowledge we just lose time. I can remember when IT McLeod, Baba, I can't remember his traditionally right now. He was a great man, a brilliant businessman. We sat together, we discuss and we talk things, and you know, and when you tell the traditional people, hey, we have to follow and learn from him, you know, all we want to learn is of the tradition. Now he's passing on. How in terms of business consultancy, what we have to invoke the ancestor now to try.
Baba, again, we have broken away from our tradition.
Yeah.
And largely for the sake of Christianity due to the slavery, right? But what I think, what we're discussing here, innovations and that sort of thing, would benefit the community on the whole. Because if
Yeah.
we produce intelligent students that have very strong creative abilities, the things that they come up with is things that the community could invest in and have the rights to. So we could
True.
have true economic benefits from such things. Many businessmen or business members of our community
Mm.
could go in behind the youths who are being creative and invest not just on behalf of themselves, but also on behalf of the community.
Community, the community. And there's a rightful time too, because how situation is, it put an emphasis on the need of your community. Are you a contributor to a community, or are you a burden to a community? You
No,
know,
well, then,
yeah.
what you
No,
really is
it's a
going.
question that allow to place within them by their contribution, they to reflect, you know.
Yeah, but then
Um,
you're talking about qualification for leadership, and that is a whole other program by itself.
I don't know. No, I said in terms of in the youth itself, allow them, yes, we pushing you, but it allows them to think, in terms of, am I a contributor or am I a burden? Because well, this is part of the leadership, what the leadership have to show. Because I has always looked at where we came from. I come to Shouter Baptist. I come to sleeping on bench, sleeping on a piece of cloth in a Mona room. We just thing for feast, lying on the parley day after day, because the next day, by the time you take a 5 minutes, you have to get up because you have to go and clean the yard, you have to do this. Go through all of this. And with me, it was a passion, but it was a learning, and it allowed me to reflect now, the younger one that coming out. You have to make them have a passion to really love it more than what I saw. Because I just saw that I had to serve God. I had to serve the leader. I have to
Well,
follow the Baba.
but
Yeah,
what
that
angle
was it.
you going at the financial angle?
Yeah. But no, but in holistically, just as also with the finance, you want the youth now, just as how I would have sacrificed, but I was doing it more because we were pushing to build the leader. But now we're pushing to build the community. We want the youth and them to come and really appreciate the moment. But if we have to take a youth from his home for 5 days to assist with us, I mean, we taking him away from his assisting his mother. We taking him away from being part of the family responsibilities. I think we should be able to compensate or be able to make the family comfortable to know your son is here. And then when he go back, he don't just go back with a bundle of clothes on the arm that he was staying in the meat and a bag with some sweet bread and a piece of cake. You know, in terms of, we have to be realistic. If I understood what it was, the struggle I made, and what could have made it better for me in my future life, my present life, I can't have take the youth through the same scenario and not look to correct some of the things in the area, so where they pass through, they would really benefit what I could not have benefited. It's
All
not being selfish in a sense, you know. So
Yeah, well,
that's basically where I'm looking at it.
all right. Well, I mean, when you say it making sense because every generation should reap the benefits of the sacrifices being made by the generations before,
Exactly. Before.
and things
Truly.
should be improving as the generations come and we go.
Yeah, sure. You appreciate.
No, well, I mean, the point
uh,
is, with other communities, that is the way it is. We are the
that's
only
it.
ones who seem to be a little bit behind on these type of things. But it is, you see, as I always say, I mean, because now this remind me of what I say in context in relation to the school, IFA School of Enlightenment.
Mm,
Our children are our greatest assets.
true.
Therefore, we must take every effort to invest in our future by investing in our children.
True. And surprised as you made that note, a sister had called today with a little situation, and she was saying how hard it is. I say, you know why it's hard? Because you're looking at money. You're studying the money. I say, how much children you have? She said, 8. I say, you have 8 valuable, wealthy piece of asset there, no? start investing the wealth, see who's going to be the accountant, who's going to be the farmer, who's going to be the mechanic, who's going to, I say, and invest in them children. I say, you get age or so, but don't focus on the money. Money will have to come, but make sure some of the money invest in the wealth of those children, and you won't have to worry because they now would have know the hardship mommy went through, and they would put things in place that mommy will be living her life in luxury when they reach up the age.
Yeah, but Baba, I think, I mean, sorry to be interrupting you all the time, but
No. Well, this is why you have
I
a
think
conversation.
at the same time, some of our leaders have to play more of a role where those things are concerned in terms of providing guidance. Because if the young lady has 8 children
Mm.
and none of these children were able to receive a centai,
Mm.
right? At least the person who is responsible for her should make it their duty to try to sit with her and have a dafa or something done for all of these children.
Well,
Some
it's
form
not
of
a person,
initiation.
but it's not a person tradition, and this is
Or,
why that's people. Now, this is why I say when we are fighting that we put emphasis on people in the tradition. I think that too when people outside of it seeing these things, they will know that hey, though I'm not in the tradition, IFA is for me as well. The
no,
principle
well,
is for me as well.
Baba,
Uh,
Baba, like I say all the time, right? At the Obatala Festival, we had a very interesting conversation, a couple of people. And I was saying this. As if our Orisha devotees, we have to create bridges that would allow people to have a glimpse into the tradition. And the only how we're going to be able to do that is by us having to exercise certain type of qualities, being very patient with people, being acceptant, being understanding, because this is how we would be able to get people to recognize that we have something of value to offer them, right? So even though the system may not be a practitioner of the tradition, for those of us who are, and for those of us who are attending to the needs of people outside of the tradition, we have to use these opportunities to explain to them, like how you told her that she had some of the greatest assets, but she probably just didn't know that.
True.
We have to be able to show people that listen, you have these children, all these children have important destinies, and as a parent, your role really is to provide um, a roadmap for the child and to try to lead the child in that direction. I mean, and without it, the life of you and your children is going to be difficult. But once these things are had, then you could guide the child on the child's road to success, and the child is not going to meet as many challenges in the lifetime as they would without that guidance. So I mean, fortunately for us, we are in a position where we have been exposed to receiving our birthright by means of reclaiming our tradition. But we also have a responsibility for those among our people who haven't had that opportunity.
True.
We have a responsibility to guide them and to show a great measure of understanding.
True. And I think this is where we have to really go beyond our space, our little space, and really expand into the community. And that's why I understand people wherever I go, I'm Ifa. Wherever I'm going, I'm Ifa Risha. Wherever, if you know what is that, okay, I'll explain it to you. You understand? Wherever I go, I wear it, I me understand, but oh, no, man. You understand? If you invite me, last I went up in the up in Valencia, the Yahweh group, they invited me up there, thing, but then when I greet them in the name of Olodumare. Yeah, so the blessing with the blessings of Orisha. I elevate the ancestors as I elevate mine. Although they never invite me back after that, though, but
No, well, I don't see
it's a
why.
shame.
Because I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. But
what
that's it. It's a shame.
the
You
very
know?
the very name of the deity that they worship in
Yeah.
is in essence one of our traditional deities that we refer to as Yahweh. But just
Yeah.
that they don't understand
They
exactly
don't
who
understand. They
Yahweh
don't
is.
understand.
They just
Understand.
take the Judaism interpretation of
And,
what
and,
that energy
and that
is.
and that is why good conversation and general open public conversation is good. Rather than we argue about spirit, we could talk about principles, history, connections, you know. These are the things basically what builds a community rather than fight up if this spirit is good or this spirit is evil and what is that. But I think I think we have dealt with most of the things. I really wanted to just have this conversation
Yeah,
in
because
terms of
we now over 30 minutes, eh?
right. So we just want to encourage that other elders and other people, even if people have an idea and ensure how it could work, they could message it into to the group, message it to the network, Green Network, and share your ideas, and we could put it in a perspective and bring it out because we have to save our community, but I can't do it alone. Baba Ifa Bemiro can't do it alone. But collectively, we all could do it because I may not have the idea how to do a good luncheon, and some sister may know how to do a good luncheon and share the idea and say, okay, right, we can put and we connect people. Because this is what networking is about in the tradition. We have to
I see.
network and work with everybody. Those that are
Collective economics, Baba.
collective economics, those who have, you don't have to give all, but you can share idea or share a little what you have. So those who don't have, towards we all having something. I think that's
All
what we
right.
should say.
Well, Baba, with that, I would like to let all the viewers know that they can
Share,
like,
subscribe,
share,
and
and
subscribe.
subscribe. Right. This stream is going to be viewable on many platforms, and I'm going to give a little rundown tonight on some of the platforms where the stream is available. We are available firstly on my group. Well, I'm going to call several groups, including the group for Baba also. Right, where the stream would be available on the Ifa Orisha Tradition and Discussion Group of TNT, Ifa Orisha Institute of Sacred and Divine Sciences, Ifa Vimero Home of Ifa Orisha Tradition, Grassroots Education and Entertainment Network, Orisha Baptist Teaching Moments, Ifa Orisha Trinidad News. This is Baba's group, the Ifa Orisha Community Congress, Omo Orisha of Trinidad and Tobago and worldwide, Orisha Devotee Discussion, Ifa Orisha events in Trinidad, etc., etc. Again, we are asking you, the viewers, to like, to
Share.
subscribe, as well as to share.
Right.
And with that, we want to say to you, Odabo, and see
Double.
you on our next program of Ifa Orisha discussions.